Well, even though that seemed to have been relegated for too long, but whatever it is, we'll try to see how to revive that because actually, no farmer, no nation. The reason is simple: any nation that cannot feed her citizens is as good as not being qualified for sovereignty. And so let's make efforts together collectively to see how we can feed everyone that is a citizen of this country. 230 million Nigerians. We can't continue to struggle for food when God has blessed us with all the resources required. It's SHADEZ Agrotainment, Agriculture Today. And the station is WAVE91.7FM for Harcourt. Time check in our studio, 6 minutes past 11 o'clock. My name is Big Daddy on Radio the Ovai One of Rumo Henu Sokwe Bahumono land. How long that title is how much food I'm capable of producing. So if you have capacity, you can invest in me, and we will not divert your money into any other thing but to produce food for Nigerians. That's our area of specialty. That's my area of specialty. Today, on SHADEZ Agrotainment Agriculture Today, we will take a look at the capacity federal government has shown in securing, a $500 million loan. $500 million credit for Nigeria to fund Nigeria's sustainable agricultural value chains for growth projects. This with the acronym AGRO. You know what that means? For some people, it's a beautiful initiative by the federal government that shows that the federal government is interested in seeing that food is produced by Nigerians and for Nigerians, and if we have excess of that, we can put that out in the international market. Having said this, some stakeholders feel otherwise about some of the things that are happening because it looks as if most times we hear these things and we see these things online, but they don't give us a true reflection of exactly what it is that Nigerians are facing and what the markets hold for Nigerians. And we are not going to stop there this morning. We'll also take a look at the fact that the federal government opens applications for 1 billion naira micro, small and medium enterprises, which is under the 2026 National MSME Awards. This would come purely as grants to beneficiaries. Well, some of these projects and some of these initiatives are quite lofty, but again, do they reflect the lifestyle, the living standards of Nigerians or not, is another thing that we need to battle with. And so this would be our talking point for today's program. And I have with me right here no other person but a finance expert, Engineer Charles Okoro, a banker by profession, who will take a critical look, by way of X-raying this and tell us exactly where the pitfalls are. So if anybody is listening that is in position to make decisions can come up and say, okay, yes, I think we are being critiqued from here and there. Let's see how we can make this up. So that, like has been said already this morning, I heard from somewhere that when you allow yourself to get into the event before you correct yourself after the event, that is experience is teaching you and experience you're sharing. But it is wisdom to look at it critically and ensure that you correct yourself and you nip whatever has to be nipped in the bud before you delve into it. And so that is wisdom. So it is wisdom for us to look at some of these things and tell us where we are not doing well before we can, dabble into any policy by government, any policy by organizations and whatever. So, but that's going to be our talking point this morning. And if you're interested in agricultural development and you're the type that is really seeking to see how Nigeria gets better, We should be able to have a country where people can go to bed and they have had their last meal for the day, which is dinner, as fondly called, and then they are able to get up in the morning and they are sure of breakfast. Is that happening to the totality of the 230 million people or even 250 million people in Nigeria? We heard the Peter Ob's analysis. You say it's politics, but well, that's what it is. That there's poverty that is deepening in this country. There's hunger that is deepening in this country. Things are hard. It's no longer news. It's no longer news. Things are hard. And if you say you are not hungry, then we should begin to check you. Okay, so that's our talking point. We look at decisions made here, by our amiable federal government, the ability to have secured this loan, $500 million, and the fact that this would be used for sustainable agricultural value chains for growth project agro, and also the fact that a portal has been opened on the 7th of April for those who are interested in sending the applications, which of course is more or less going to be like a grant for MSME. If you're interested, the portal closes by 7th of May. But you see, it baffles me a whole lot when some of these monies, 1 billion naira, is not a joke. 1 billion naira, I know if you check that, considering inflation and all of that, it might not go too far, but at least let it be that sometimes when this type of things come up, we should have people, at least within Rivers State, to tell us that I benefited. From Akwa Ibom, I benefited. Cross River, I benefited. Bayelsa, I benefited. How is it that most of these things are just online? Engineer Charles Okoro, you may have to take it up from there. Let your analysis be fondly made. I know that with the expertise you have in finance, you should be able to look at, and you being also an agriculturist, you should be able to look at what it is that this loan, the $500 million that has been secured by the federal government, how well it will do Nigerians and Nigeria in the area of sustainable agricultural value chains for growth project.
Good morning and good morning to my fellow farmers that has been debating for a very long time. It is only in agriculture they used to play unnecessary politics, because I look at this as ambiguous and bogus loan. Because if you are collecting loan, one of the first things you need to ask yourself is the environment the farmer working, is it safe or unsafe? And because we have an unsafe environment across the 36 states, I think this loan will end in default. You can't go to Boko Haram ISIS and they, after giving you this loan, or either in input or in grant form, and you go to the farm and they don't allow you, or if you go to Southeast or Southwest and you are kidnapped, and because of that their product, you will like them to kidnap you. Look at, even the military are dying, the police are dying, those that have ammunition on their hand. What of a poor rural farmer? This is not even a commercial farmer that can purchase something, a rural farmer. And you are saying that you are securing $500 million for them. It's a good thing if actually our environment is safe. But since our environment is not safe, that loan is bound to enter into default. And when it enters into default, they'll start criticizing the end user. Because the end user his life or her life is important to the end user, who is the farmer. Because if you die because they gave you out of the $500 million for you to farm and you die, that's the end of you. Story gone. But if you are alive, you can do something. So if this government is pathetic about the farmer, you should first of all make sure that the farm environment is what? Safe. And if the farming environment is safe and electricity is available, transport is reduced to the barest minimum, this will not be. You have increased fuel and you are giving this farmer the loan. Most of those loans will go into transport fare. Most will go into electricity bill payment estimated. Then how many is remaining for this farmer? So I thank them for having the ideology. But at the same time, on the issue of their targeted farmer, it's wrong.
Now, before we go to who they are targeting and what the focus for this loan is. Now let's take a look at this very quickly. You just said something. The initiative, according to you, just like every other thinking person would say, is a beautiful initiative. But then again, there's a gap between who is disbursing the loans and who is being the beneficiary of the loans. Now, people can take advantage both ways of insecurity that you have pointed out. To say, well, this loan, entered a default because of insecurity. Either the farmer can say that, and or the disburser for the loan, can say that, yet monies are diverted. That's how far corruption has eaten into the facets of.
It happens in Ankoburuafu.
Exactly.
So it is another way that is coming up that will still happen. And the House of Rep and the Senate have not started asking questions. It is only when this money has gone, a panel will be set.
Exactly. Okay. Now, having brought this out, you just also mentioned that the price of fuel has gone high. The hike in the price of fuel. Now, all of that, maybe because of the withdrawal of subsidy by Mr. President, and they said is to save and get a better economy. And from time to time, the president has told us that these monies that we have saved, we have sent it to your governors. We have sent it to your local government chairmen. There are states, even Lagos State today. I was in Lagos for over 1 week last week, and I apologize for not being on this program last week. I was in Lagos, and several meetings I had, they could tell me to the extent where local government chairmen are doing major projects, road projects, local government chairmen in Lagos State. I am not saying what, and the person who was sharing is quite close to a particular, and mentioned the local government chairman and the local government itself. In my mind, I said, this is not happening anywhere else. What exactly is the problem? Now, if that is the case, and you said, well, fuel has gone up, transportation, all of that, the federal government cannot come from where they are. After they have shared money to states, they have shared money to local governments. Now, the local governments, the chairman might not be interested in, how can our farmers benefit from this money that we are talking about? 1 billion is on one side, applications and all of that. There's another $500 million that has been secured as loans for, smallholder farmers and all of that. Nobody is talking in this direction to help cushion the economy of this sector. Now, everybody is just interested in politics, defection here and there and all of that. Now, I think that, if you agree, I think that if the federal government has secured this money and they said there is qualification for, any state to benefit from this money, then the state governors have a role to play by sensitizing their citizens in the state, sensitizing the agriculture sector to say, look, there are largesse that are coming from the federal, but we need to be able to put X, Y, Z in place to be able to qualify for this largesse to come to you. And there should be proper direction. That direction in leadership, I don't think we are seeing it. Engineer Charles Okoro, while you talk about other modalities that are
that is why I'm telling you